Feeling good down in my soul, yeah, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, yeah, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, yeah, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Every day, in every way, God is so good. Oh, every day, in every way, God is so good. Every day, in every way, God is so good. My God is so good to me. And in my time of trial, I know
God is so good.
in my time of trial, I know God is so good. In my time of trial, I know God is so good. My God is so good to me. And when my day is over, I know
God is so good.
oh, when my day is over, I know God is so good. When my day is over, I know
God is so good.
oh, my God is so good to me. Every day, in every way.
God is so good.
Oh, let me hear you. Every day, in every way.
God is so good.
Oh, every day, in every way.
God is so good.
Go. My God is so. My God is so. My God is so good to me. My God is so good to me. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much. Please be seated. All right, it's time to dismiss our kids. If we got any kids that want to go with Miss Stephanie to the youth department, you are dismissed. Bye, guys.
Buenos días, Unity of Music City.
Buenos
Ah,
días.
qué bueno, qué bueno. Today's affirming statement is I look for the good in every situation. Let's begin this portion of our service by taking a deep, centering breath. As we go through life, we might find that we are inclined to compare who we are and what we have with others. But in reality, everything is relative. In the end, meaning comes down to our perspective and perception. So no particular person, experience, emotion, or action should be seen as good or bad until we see it from the perspective of the big picture. Nothing and no one is inherently good or bad, and every situation we experience is an opportunity for learning. Everything is a spectrum of expression and energy, and there is more than one perspective on any situation or challenge. When life happens to us, are we conscious of the fact that there are always multiple ways to perceive it? And are we also conscious of the fact that the way we perceive something might not always be the way that others perceive it? The law of relativity states that everything is relative because we all perceive reality in our own way. This law explains why two people can go through the same situation but have two entirely different experiences. Understanding this law can help us prioritize inner peace over defending the truth because truth is relative anyway. In other words, we are the ones who assign meanings to things, so we can choose to regard things however we wish, as we understand the tougher aspects of life with greater compassion. When we remember that everything happens for us, not to us, we can begin to change our thoughts and actions to an attitude that enhances our lives. And when we show up for others as the presence of love, joy, and peace, we can change the outcome of every situation that we find ourselves in. Now please repeat these affirming statements after me. I am mindful of how I perceive the truth in every situation.
I am mindful of how I perceive the truth in every situation.
I easily let go of the thoughts and things that don't serve me.
I easily let go of the thoughts and things that don't serve me.
When I am centered on the divine presence within, I show up as love, peace, and joy.
When I am centered on the divine presence within, I show up as love, peace, and joy.
And so it is.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Unity of Music City. I want to thank you all for being here with us today. Out of all the places that you could be right now, you have made the sole choice to bring your energy to play with ours. Whether you are in this very room or in your living room, we recognize you. We see who you truly are, the spiritual image and the very likeness of the divine presence. You are a one-of-a-kind wonderful. And today, we're going to celebrate your very existence and all you bring to the planet. Today, we get to celebrate our infinite potential and the potential that you bring to this spiritual community. You are loved, you are appreciated, and we behold the very presence of the divine in you. So thank you for being here today. We have an incredible service for you today, full of all kinds of things and a very special ceremony. So let's get started with some announcements. Sherry?
Okay. Woohoo! Announcements. Today, all right, our youth program is open to all youth. We have a ton of them. They are piling in every Sunday. So if you have a young person who would like to share in some playful, spiritual, uplifting activities, please speak to Stephanie. And multi-generational service, guess what, is next Sunday. Now you say, what is that? Some of you new folks may not know what that is. Come and find out March 5th, where the adults and children will join together to celebrate in the Sunday service. There will be no youth program for this service, okay, because they're being here. They're going to be with us, all right. There is now additional parking across the street. Most of you kind of probably know that already. In the insurance company parking lot for our Sunday morning services, both in the front and around the back. Also, are you looking for a way to contribute to our gifts and talents to the Sunday service? Question. You say, I don't know, but I can get up in front of people and talk. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We are needing readers for the centering statement at the beginning of each service. This would require you to commit to reading the centering statement one Sunday per month. That's all. The reading usually takes 3 minutes, and you can be emailed the reading in advance to prepare. Please see Ryan Gill before or after the service if you are interested. There is a full moon gathering Tuesday, March the 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. right here. Bring your chair, your drum, crystals, sage, or whatever calls to you. We'll build the fire. During the month of March, we are asking, this is real important, so pay attention. During the month of March, we are asking current members to renew their membership. This process should only take a few minutes. Look for details in your email box. If you're not signed up to receive the email, please let somebody know. Oh, Valerie. Let Valerie back there in the purple know if you're not receiving the email. This process should take only a few minutes. Look for details in your email inbox this week and the newsletter. We are grateful for your attention to this request so that we can keep our membership list current. Your response is required to remain active. Okay. For any adults wishing to become a new member, please complete a full application found at the bottom of the unityofmusiccity.com. We will be gathering applications during March and April to create another membership orientation class occurring in May and June. Okay, so lots of things going on with new membership. So look all of that up if you're interested in our newsletter. It comes out weekly.
Today is New Member Recognition Sunday. So, hello, I'm Valerie Dennison. It is my honor to lead the membership ministry here at Unity of Music City. Unity of Music City has been on a journey to learn, experience, and express oneness for many years now. Oneness with the divine, oneness with creation, oneness with each other. As folks are drawn to this energy, the membership ministry supports a pathway for them to step into the boat with us on this journey. Our focus is to support connection and nurture the talents of all who are here as we spiritually grow both collectively and individually. So committing to be a formal member of our spiritual community provides new opportunities to co-create and shape the direction of our collective growth. Membership also informs the universe of one's alignment with our core defining principles, our purpose, vision, and mission, creating opportunities to spiritually integrate those understandings. The folks we are recognizing this morning have made the commitment to enter into membership with our spiritual community. In preparation, these individuals have participated in an orientation that has covered our community history, core defining principles, our governance, and opportunities for service. Through their desire to actively share their time, talents, and treasures with us, our entire community is enriched and blessed beyond measure. It is my honor to have worked with you, so thank you. So at this time, I invite Reverend Deb and our president, Benita Maddox, to come up. We will ask each member, when called, to come up to the front to be recognized and embraced. Please stay here until everyone's present.
Get those?
So our first member is Tammy C.
Whoa.
I was afraid it was going to happen. Yeah, okay, we get it. All right, our next member is Sarah Esper. Yeah.
The best hugger on the planet.
All right. All right, our next member is Aubrey Derryberry. Our next member is Julie Lanham. Okay. We have one other person who is a returning member, our own Stephanie Hartman. She is not going to be coming in today, but she has attended all these classes with us. So thank you so very much. We're so proud to have you in our family. Deb, you want to say something?
So the stone that I gave you, is this on? Yeah, I believe it is. The stone I gave you is a pink tourmaline. Hold on 1 second. I'm not done talking to you. No. The stone I gave you is a pink tourmaline, and when I went into my local little metaphysical shop to find just the right thing, I went in purposely with nothing in mind, thinking that it would jump out at me. And when I found this stone, I knew that it was a stone of love and healing and self-healing. And then my local little rock shop owner had chosen 3 words to describe this stone. And they were love, inspiration, and support. May this community be a source of love, inspiration, and support for you on your journey. Welcome.
The service, so you'll have a chance to, just so everyone will know, we're going to have a cake and some punch after the service if you'd like to spend a little time to get to know these new folks. So thank you.
Wow. I just had a flashback to the pandemic, the midst of the pandemic, and we're meeting in a hotel meeting room and not knowing what the future may hold for us, and here we are just a few months into having an incredible new property, an incredible new building, and having a ceremony to recognize new members. It's just incredible. So give yourself a round of applause, yes. And you know, I can't think of a better song to do now. This song chose itself, it really did, for this month, because we didn't It's one heart, and the chorus, one heart. We are one soul, finding our way in the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. So let's stand and sing it together. There's a new church on the horizon, made of light, not of stone, calling out to all creation, you are not alone. Lions and lambs, brothers and sisters, best of friends, enemies, woman and man, losers and winners, they're only you and me. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way in the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Out in the cold, there are faces hidden by wind and rain. Hold out your hand, someone will take it and bring you home again. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way in the dark. One fires are burning, tears are falling from the sky, still the world keeps turning. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way in the dark. One dream we share together. We are all apart. We are all apart. We are all a part of one heart. Welcome, new members. Thank you so much. Please be seated.
If I'm not mistaken, that's been our first new member class in about 4 years. So in a way, y'all are like the inaugural class. You're our first new member class since we changed our beliefs and values statements. Some of you found us when we were meeting in that hotel, when some folks said, "We'll never get any new people meeting in a hotel." So thanks for proving them wrong. And as we step into our meditative portion of the service, what a perfect time to focus on the energies of spiritual home and spiritual family. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Lower your shoulders. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Let the seat support you. Here, you are safe. Here, you are appreciated in your most authentic expression. Here you are loved just the way you are. Here you are seen as divine. In this sanctuary of energy that we create when we are gathered with like-minded and like-hearted people. Here we can take every concern, every worry, we can just set them down. We can pick them up again if we need to. But for right now, we can just set them down. We can intentionally and consciously choose this moment to be only in the energy of love and peace, support, safety. This is the essence of spiritual community. Co-creating this sanctuary of energy. Co-creating this space where we can experience ourselves as the pure love that we are. So for a moment together, we enter into that space, receiving love as we breathe in, sending forth love as we breathe out. As a spiritual family, a spiritual community of love, we rest there now in the silence. In the silence. Mother, Father, God, we thank you for this community that we are building together, and we thank you for this physical space that we can come into and be safe in exploring the spiritual space that we inhabit together. Thank you for this group of people. Thank you for every person who kept the divine appointment this morning to be exactly where they were called to be, needed to be. Thank you for your ever-loving presence, the presence that is with us always. Thank you for people who remind us of that. We live in grace and gratitude, and we say, Alleluia.
Hallelujah.
Well, that's kind of the way I feel right now. Just kind of like, well, got to let it all sink in for just a moment. I love being in the energy of this group of people. And I don't know if it was the day that perfectly creates the setting for the new members or if it's the new members who perfectly set up the energy for today. But either way, we'll take it. We'll take it either way. So we started February off talking about the purification energy in the month of February and the ancient Roman festival of Februa and where all of this came from. And we talked about that in terms of a making ready kind of energy. The idea of staying heavily meditated, right? And being always truthful in thought, speech, and action, and being dedicated to the light of knowledge, and then complete surrender to the divine energy in our life. And then the week after that, we talked about, I know that's on. I think it's on. It's on. Let's try it again. There we go. Well, that was you. That's all right. What comes next was what we talked about. What comes next? Isn't that interesting that that was the slide that wouldn't come next? We talked about how this energy of being ready and this purification energy was all about always being ready for what comes next, because as co-creators of our life, we sometimes start to confuse that with the idea that we're in charge. And the truth is, we're in charge and we're not. Right? It's a paradox. It's all a paradox that we do have co-creative energy, and at the same time, we're not in charge. So we talked about how we should plan but lightly, how we should dream but awakened, how we should be present but be ready. And I shared with you a prayer. I'm going to get Crystal, this is not working, so I'm going to rely on you heavily. I asked Crystal, she's going to be printing up some cards with this on it, so in a couple weeks I'll be handing them out to you. But it's a great way, I've discovered, a great way to start the day. I am ready for this day. Bring to me those experiences that fulfill the purpose you have for me. Dream for me a dream I can't even imagine. Help me to remember that where I am supposed to be, I am, and who I am supposed to be, I am. I stay ready for this day by being present in the awareness of you. And that energy is a very powerful energy to start your day in. We used that to move into the next slide, which is thank you, Crystal, she read my mind. The act of trust is what we talked about last week, and how faith is a noun, but trust is a verb, and faith comes from a belief system, but trust comes from a relationship. And that when we enter into the relationship with Spirit, there are 3 thoughts I gave you about ways to nurture that relationship of trust with Spirit, to remain in communion with Spirit, to remain in gratitude for Spirit, and to always release, surrender unto Spirit. Which brings us to today, building spiritual community. So notice how, thank you, yes, I'm just going to start, I'll give you a little, all right. Notice how these 4 energies that we've been talking about this month are balanced between kind of passive and assertive, like purifying ourselves and remaining in a state of readiness for what comes next, engaging in the art of allowing, releasing our grip on the universe, resting, waiting, then engaging in the act of trust. And that act is not just saying that we trust or saying that we have faith, but performing the act of trust. It's getting in that wheelbarrow, if you remember from last week, and letting yourself be pushed across the tightrope over Niagara Falls. The building of spiritual community requires all of these. We are waiting and purifying and ready, but we are also engaged in action, actively trusting, seeing each other and each encounter with each other as a microcosm of divine interchange, a holy moment, actively building a spiritual community. So, of course, that yin-yang symbol has the little spot of light in the darkness and that little spot of darkness in the light. as a reminder that there is action in the stillness and there is stillness in the action. And I shared with you last week my Bhagavad Gita quote, that one of my favorites here, the one who can see inaction in the midst of action and action in the midst of inaction is wise and can act in the spirit of yoga. And that is the spiritual balancing act that we're engaging in throughout this entire spiritual journey, is remembering how to act and remain still in the presence as we move through that, but then how to sit in the stillness and realize all that's happening in that moment, right? As we let go. Building spiritual community is done both through those actions and through the surrender and the trusting and the allowing and the being. We can make a 5-year plan and we also have no idea what's going to happen. We can just be ready for it, right? That inaction is actually one of the most powerful and transformative acts we engage in. I thought I was getting spiritually involved when I figured out how to make things happen, right? But real spiritual evolution came when I figured out how to let go of things happening and watch and trust and have faith. There's an author and a philosopher and activist from Detroit, Grace Lee Boggs, and she said building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. She died in 2015 at the age of 100 after living an entire lifetime fighting for civil rights. President Obama honored her on her death. The New York Times did a write-up on her, and at the age of 100, she had spent her entire life, as the New York Times write-up said, always believing that justice was just around the corner. Always believing that the day when we would be equal and free was just around the corner. So how do we build spiritual community? If that is to our collective what spiritual practice is to us as individuals, how do we go about doing this? You can look it up online and find a million different ways to do this. Every church on the planet has a way of creating spiritual community. Today we're going to let the pink tourmaline be our guide. And so we're going to So if you remember that word love with the biggie, right? But maybe you can think of it as starting with the cornerstone, starting with the foundation, because ultimately, truly, nothing matters without love. For those of us who look for guidance in the Christian tradition, we know that one of the biggest commands Jesus ever gave was love one another. All of these, he says this 5 times, by the way, and all of the times that he says these, he is speaking to the disciples at the Passover feast, the Last Supper, the same night he's betrayed. He's just washed their feet. He's just identified Judas as the one who will betray him and told him to go and do what he must do. And Jesus knows that his time is John the new commandment one another as you also love to get it across so badly that he says it twice in one sentence, right? And then in John 13:35 he says, by this all will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. And in John 15:12, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. And a few verses later, these things I command you, that you love one another. Over and over and over again, this is what it means to be a follower of Jesus. This is what it means to be a Buddhist. This is what it means to be a Hindu. This is what it means to be a Muslim. This is what it means to be a pagan. All of these spiritual paths say the same thing. Love one another. First, do no harm. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? Now, nobody can tell you how to do this. Jesus said, as I have loved you. So I suppose we could look to the life of Jesus. And I'll tell you, if I look to the life of Jesus, what I'm know that they are not can tell you how to love huggers and not huggers, right? Some folks are boisterous in their love, and other folks are like, I'm going to love you over here from a distance. And let me just tell you, both of those are love. And neither one of them is stronger than the other, right? As a matter of fact, sometimes those folks who are quietly holding space for you off to the side are really giving you some big jolts of love that you may not even realize. The Persian poet Rumi from the 13th century said, one of our favorites, he was named America's favorite poet a few years back, and that was, he's been around for 700 years, so there's hope, there's longevity for you. Wherever you are and whatever you do, be in love. Be in love as you are doing it, right? However it shows up for you. And so because we don't know what love looks like on the outside, the way to do that is to nurture the energy of love within us and simply radiate that. Let that love guide us and teach. Has nothing to do with someone. Him or her compatible. Love of unity. A love of seeing God wearing all the masks and recognizing itself in them all. With this love, you can feel the walls of opposition come down naturally in the acknowledgement of deep connection. In the process of building spiritual community, we can sometimes find ourselves facing walls of opposition, and sometimes they take us by surprise. Because we expect walls of opposition out in the world. Then we come here and we're with the people we love and we hang out with and we know we understand each other on a certain level. And then if we face a wall of opposition, it's surprising sometimes. It's shocking. But the truth is, like every organization, we're an organization made up of people. If there were only 2 people in the United States of America, there would still be 2 major political parties, right? So everybody has different ideas. But through love, through true love, interacting with each other in true love, we can see each other as simply a different expression of God. When someone has a different idea, we go, wow, look at God expressing herself over there. That's a different way of looking at it. Maybe I should pay attention to it, right? When we engage in this love, we feel the deep connection, and only that deep connection can build true and lasting spiritual community. A lot of folks want to come to a spiritual place, a church, if you want to call it that, our little mosque of goodness here, our temple of holiness, and want to come in and say, I'm going to sit on the side, I don't want to get too involved, I'm just going to come, get a little bit, and leave. That's fine. That's totally fine. But man, something really special happens when you connect with each other. You care about each other. You love each other. You learn about each other. You know about each other's life and family. And that is a way to build true spiritual connection. The second energy that we're going to talk about is inspiration, right? The energy of inspiration. So one thing I want you to notice is that all of these are reciprocal energies. We give love and we receive love. We also inspire as much as we are inspired. Valerie, who is in charge of our membership ministry, and she was up here inducting the new members, Valerie has an incredible head for organization and staying on task. She is like the task-oriented queen. And every now and then, I get an email from Valerie, and I am inspired to maybe focus on this problem just a little bit, right? I get some inspiration to think about this. And maybe I needed that reminder at that time. When I see Susan and Annette, who are consistently back there as a reliable presence on our hospitality team, they're like a steady drip of inspiration, like the coffee maker of inspiration. I'm so glad that landed because I was really proud of myself when I thought of it this week. When I see Amy's unwavering faith and her constant focus on the needs of others, I am inspired. When Julie posted a picture about teaching at a Sumner County middle school in the cutest little suit and tie in the face of our political environment today, I was inspired because inspiration gives us energy and hope and courage and direction and determination, all the things that we need in order to do what we must do. A lot of times people look to the minister of a church for inspiration. And if I have ever shared something that inspired you, just know that I probably Googled it. But for the new members' sake, I want to clarify just a little bit about this minister's role in regard to inspiring or bringing any kind of message. First, I want to start with the 3 things this minister cannot say. Number 1, I missed you last week. It doesn't matter how I practice. That always comes out of my mouth as, where were you last week? Right? Now, I remember as a child actually being in the car as my father I don't know where we would be heading. I was just a little child. My father would say, well, I need to call on so-and-so. And I had to sit and wait in the car while he went up and knocked on the door unannounced of a parishioner who had not been in church that week. Because there was a time when that's what ministers did. They came and knocked on your door and said, where were you? Just want to make sure everything's okay? Can we pray? Right? And people would be like looking around at their house, making sure it was cleaned up and worried that the minister was here. So know this, I miss you when you're not here. And sometimes I'm careful about not saying that because I don't ever want you to feel like I'm paying attention to. I'm not taking a role of any sort when you're not here because you are where you're supposed to be by divine appointment. But when you're not here, I miss you. The next thing I can't say is this. Here's what you need to do. Now, I have to fight my Aries nature not to say this. Because I really want to say, here's what you need to do. But I am friends with enough therapists to know that that is not what you can say, right? Right. Thank you. Someone would smack me upside the head if I said, here's what you need to do. And the truth is, I don't know what you need to do. Right? It's not mine to tell you what you need to do. The third thing this minister can't say is anything about money. Now, that's not completely true, of course. I can talk about all of these things. But it's always money that's interesting in regards to these kinds of settings. And what we do instead is we just try to nurture the energy and the environment of bounty and prosperity. We know that we are continuing to show up and step into what God has next for us. We believe that we are going to be cared for by the divine. We trust and obey, as the song used to say, and do the best that we can. Now, those, of course, are a little bit jokes. There's nothing really the minister can't say, as proven by what comes out of her mouth on a regular basis. But I do want to point out the things the minister can say. Number 1 is your presence makes a difference. I may not call you up and say, I missed you last week, but I will tell you on a regular basis that your presence makes a difference. Just like I say with my students, I don't want to emphasize attendance too much, but the energy in the room changes when one of you is gone. The whole energy in the room shifts. And so when Ryan says that your energy comes to play with ours, he means it. That is precisely what we are experiencing here. Your presence makes a difference. The second thing this minister can say is, you'll know what you need to do. Whatever you're going through in your life, I will hold the space for you. I will pray with you. I will do whatever I can to shine a light on what I think I can shine a light on. But mostly what I will say to you is, sit still and listen. You'll know. Trust. You'll know what you need to do. And the third thing is, everything you give to this community is deeply appreciated. I may not spend a lot of time talking about money. I remember there was an there was a movie from way back. I don't remember which one. It was a comedy. But there was a televangelist, tent revival kind of preacher, you know the kind, who sold used cars on the side. And so, and there was a line in there that was, I want you to come up here and put into my hand what you would put into God's hand, just like that, right? And so I'm never going to do that, right? I'm never going to do that. So this idea, but I will say that this is an organization that runs on energy and talent and, yes, on money, right? And there are responsibilities that we have. So everything you give to this community is deeply appreciated, and we believe is going to come back to you, heaped up, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. But ultimately, here are the three things I hope you hear this minister say. There's what I can't say. There's what I can say. This is what I want you to hear. You are loved. You are deeply loved. You are love. And so our loving you is just the reminder to look in the mirror and to know that this is who you are. The second thing I hope you hear is that you are enough, just like you are. In fact, you are only enough when you express just as you are, in your purest, most authentic self. Right? When we try to hide or conform or live up to some idea that we think society has put forth for us, that's when we start to dim our own light. You are loved, you are enough, and you are the face of God. You are one of those expressions of God that we need to see, an expression of God that comes forth for our benefit, for us to be inspired. This is the way we inspire each other. The third word was support, right? Support. This is the word that let me know this was the right stone for today. This was the word that really reached out to me and said, love, yeah, that's on I think every stone I've ever picked up, they go, well, this one is good for love. But this one is good for support. It is a supportive kind of energy, right? And we know this is the right energy for us because one of our belief statements is we honor the unique path of each person's spiritual journey, and that is a statement of support. Honor is the verb here, and honor in that use means to regard someone with respect, right? To honor someone is to regard their path with respect. It is the namaste bow of divine connection. It's the support that shows up as acknowledgement and recognition. And sometimes we refer to this act, this honoring act of support. I've mentioned it a few times already today as holding space. Heather Plutt is a speaker and the author of The Art of Holding Space. And this is her quote. What does it mean to hold space for someone else? It means that we are willing to walk alongside another person in whatever journey they're on without judging them, making them feel inadequate, trying to fix them, or trying to impact the outcome. When we hold space for each other, we open our hearts, offer unconditional support, and let go of judgment and control. I got to tell you that second sentence is not something that I often felt growing up in a traditional church. I felt judged. I sometimes felt inadequate. Someone was always trying to fix me, and they were certainly trying to impact the outcome of my life. And true spiritual growth happened when I was able to get into an energy where none of that was happening. None of that was warring with my true expression. But you know, support for each other has to be more than just spiritual. Support is also material and physical and speaks to this human expression. This past week, I posted a meme on social media that looks like this. What clothes you wear, what makeup you wear, how you wear your hair, how high your heels are, is your business, your right, your freedom of expression. Many of you probably know about some of the things going on in the Tennessee State Legislature and other state legislatures around the country. This is not a political statement because this is about the full expression of each person's divinity, and that's a spiritual issue. Support for the whole person can never just be support of the spiritual journey because all of this is spiritual. All of our experience is spiritual, and there's not more that connects us to the spiritual on this material plane than the way we show up in expression. There is, as you may know, a bill limiting drag in Tennessee. It's passed through both the House and the Senate. It's waiting for Governor Lee's signature. As I understand Tennessee politics, it doesn't even require the governor's signature. It will become law on April 1st, banning public drag. Yesterday, there were some online hate groups that called for a national day of hate. That's what they called it. And they asked for people to attack synagogues. It was specifically aimed at the Jewish community. Some Jewish rabbis in the Northeast stepped up and said, let's go ahead and call this a National Day of Reconciliation. We have to counter this. As I was talking about all of this stuff this week with a colleague of mine, I had a day that felt heavy. All of this feels really heavy. And if you are not one of the people who's directly impacted by any of these, know that whatever heaviness you feel is multiplied hundreds of times for the people who are directly impacted. The world feels heavy for a lot of people. And when I mentioned this to a colleague, she said, you know, the energy that we live in today is one where you really just can't pay attention. But you can't not pay attention. And that's the squeeze that we're feeling. That is the squeeze that we're in. Offering the support of spiritual solace and recognition for your divine authentic self is one of the highest callings we can fulfill right now. Being that energy of support in the world is one of the highest callings we can fulfill. I don't know how we'll be called on as a community to do that, but we stay ready for what comes next. We stay meditated up and prayed up and whatever it is we need to do to be ready as a community to always, always show the kind of unqualified support for a person's divine expression. That is the support that I want everyone who comes through these doors to feel in their bones. I look forward to the ways that we will show that out of these doors as well. Last week, I showed a slide that said, to be trusted is a greater compliment than being loved. I would say this week that being fully supported is when love and trust come together. It's saying, I trust you to make the best decisions for your life, and I love the way you show up. That's the kind of support a spiritual community should give to everyone within its energetic orbit, everyone within its sanctuary of energy. There's one more thought about this stone that I want to share to you. When I first picked up this stone in the shop the other day, the very first word that came to me was gentle. If you get a chance, pick this up and feel it, because it just feels like a really, really gentle energy. I don't know if you've ever seen a dog with a newborn baby. I used to have a dog named Molly, but Molly was a large mutt, had a very gentle spirit. But whenever babies or children were around, Molly would get low to the ground, and she would roll over and show her belly, and she'd move really slowly, as if she knew, I need to be gentle. These are new pups. They need my gentle energy. You might have heard it said in the past that a minister's job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Not this one. That idea comes from a sense that there's a right way to travel your spiritual path. And if you're not on it, then you need to be prodded and poked. I fully trust universal presence to do whatever prodding and poking you need in your life. My job is not to do that. It's not the place of your minister or anyone in your spiritual community to imply that you're not doing it right. It's not the place of your minister or anyone in your spiritual community to point out any perceived failings on your part, or quite frankly, to see you as anything other than the divine presence that you are. To see you as anything other than the face of God showing up in their life right at that moment. For the more you are seen that way, the more you will know your true path and trust your heart and walk in light and understanding. If this place doesn't feel safe, especially now, doesn't feel gentle, then it can never provide true sanctuary. Your spiritual home shouldn't come with landmines. Any aha or gotcha moments you might experience here are between you and Goddess. None of my business. Your spiritual community is here to gently support you, to hopefully inspire you on your journey, and to love you all the way along. And we're looking forward to the way that your love and support will inspire us how to do all of that better every day. Namaste.
And we just want to stay in that space of gratitude for just another couple of minutes here and just kind of be grateful for the opportunities that we have been given in our lives through our families, through our community, through our spiritual community, all of the chances to understand the way that what we've been given and the way that we can give back. And grateful for the opportunity to have a physical and a spiritual experience of giving and receiving love, joy, and peace. I think that's exactly what I wanted to say. So thank you so much. You can see, let's put up on the board. Okay, these are the ways that you can give back to your spiritual community through, whether it's online, through PayPal. You can take a picture of the QR code. The blue vase is in the back for your paper monies. And you can do automatic bank draft. That's always good for people that are forgetful as I am. And let's do our offertory affirmation together, okay? Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am. Let's sing our gratitude. Grateful for another day of living. Grateful for a new chance to forgive. I'm grateful to receive life's many blessings. And I'm grateful for the love I have to give. I am grateful for another day of living. And I am grateful for a new chance to forgive. I'm grateful to receive life's many blessings. And I'm grateful for the love I have to give. Yes, I'm grateful for the love I have to give. I'm grateful for you. All right, well, let's all stand. Sherry, will you lead us in the prayer for protection, please?
Will. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And we let it be. All right, Let's welcome back the kids. Let me hear ya. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Peace wash over us. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. Let the joy wash over you. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. It all comes back down to love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Let me hear you. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. Watch me. We let it be. Let it be. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Such a great service. We will see you next week, Sunday at 11 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in online, too. Have a great week.